Hello everyone and welcome to Beamish Bookworms. We shall continue reading the classic Frankenstein. Chapter 16. Another Wild Creature? I was working in the laboratory one evening and feeling tired, I sat on the chair placed there. While I was sitting, I closed my eyes and tried to relax. But it seemed impossible for me to do so. Disturbing thoughts riddled my head about the monster that I was about to create. I remembered how passionate I used to be, discovering, inventing, and enhancing my knowledge. It had all collapsed when the first monster came into being. Now, after 3 years, I was producing another of the same kind, an evil creature. I'm creating another fiend for the one I have already brought to life. I was blinded with lust for innovation. The existing one is evil. But what will happen once this creature lying lifeless in the laboratory comes to life? What if it is even more fiendish than the first monster? What if I am on the brink of putting mankind in danger by bringing her to life? I don't know what this creature will turn out to be. Will she murder and kill people? Will she go with the first monster and leave Europe or not? What if she refuses to go with the monster because of his hideous visage and form, or he doesn't like her? What if she and he like each other and together go away and produce small monsters like themselves? My mind seemed ready to burst, flooded with so many questions and thoughts at the same time. I was horrified by the questions in my heart, and if they came true, I knew humankind would be in grave danger. Beads of perspiration sat on my forehead, and my hands started shivering as I stood up, contemplating the degree of harm that could be inflicted upon the people of the world. Just as I was in this quandary, a face appeared outside the window. I looked keenly and was frightened to see that it was the monster himself, staring at me and the body of his companion. As I gazed, I saw a very evil, fiend-like smile on his face, and I knew he was happy to see his bride, almost ready to be brought to life. That smile was an eye-opener for me. I understood the monster's evil intentions. He didn't want a companion, but a comrade in arms who would create mayhem in the human world. I blamed myself for promising him his bride. Outraged and unable to control myself, I started shouting and attacked the body lying on the laboratory table. I was completely out of my mind, and in no time, I tore apart the hands, legs, and other body parts. When the body was dismembered to my satisfaction, I looked at the shocked face of the monster standing outside the window. His face was red with rage, and growling in misery and anger, he vanished into the night. Finally, I turned my back and left the laboratory. I went to the window at my bedside, and it took me a few hours to calm down. While gazing at the sea, I saw the fishing boats moving on the water and heard the fishermen calling out to each other. As I gazed at the sea, trying to fathom its vastness, I saw a small boat coming towards the shore at an incredible speed. The boat was approaching my house, and as it reached the shore, a figure jumped out of the boat. I didn't have a doubt about what he was, but I was too shocked to react and remained seated in my chair. Seconds later, my door opened, and I saw the monster at the door. He came in and pointed at me. "Victor Frankenstein, I saw you from the window. I was happy to see my companion, but you destroyed my wife. You have broken your promise. Why did you do this? Why did you promise me at all?" I screamed back in rage. "Go away, you monster! Leave me alone! Yes, I broke my promise. I was blinded by your argument. But now I have realized how wrong I was. I can't create more wild creatures." The monster exploded. "Evil? Ugly? Don't forget that you made me, and you made me more powerful than you. You cannot imagine how you will repay for your mistake. I was determined. So now you will threaten me? Do whatever you can, but I won't budge. Show your power, and I won't be frightened. I could sense the anger boiling within him, and he screamed. Ha! My power? You want to see my power? You created me, yet you don't know what I'm capable of doing. You think you will be happy after all this? Never, never will you experience happiness again. I promise you that I will make your life just as miserable as you have made mine. You will curse your very existence every moment from now. You have denied me, my friend, and I will make sure that you remain as lonely as I am. You have given my life a mission, and now I will live just for revenge. I stand here against you and your human world. Now just wait and watch your world fall apart. Enough of your threatening. Away, you devil, out of my sight, were my final words to him. He rolled his eyes and with a sinister look on his face warned me. I am going now, but I will be back for you. Be prepared. I won't forget what you have done to me and won't let you forget it either. See you on your wedding night. I went after him to catch him, but my human form was no match for his monstrous figure. In moments, he fled from my room, jumped into his boat, and rowed away. Standing on the shore, I looked as he went away, but I wasn't able to forget his words. My wedding night? He could do anything, and these thoughts sent a shiver down my spine. Poor Elizabeth, she would have to see his monstrous face. I didn't care about what would happen to me, but I was worried about Elizabeth and the terrible ordeal she would have to face because of me. I vowed that I wouldn't die without a fight, and I braced myself for the inevitable. Chapter 17. The Third Victim. I decided to leave the island next morning. I had been receiving letters from Henry, and now I thought to head towards Scotland and join him. Before leaving the rented room, I had to tidy up the laboratory so that the people on the island would not be suspicious and disgusted with what I had been attempting. This disagreeable task was to be done quickly. I couldn't avoid it, so I opened the door to witness the horrible sight. Mutilated body parts lay strewn everywhere in the room. I set to work, collecting my medical instruments, gathering the flesh and bones, cleaning the floor, and packing everything in a large suitcase. Taking the suitcase with me, I went to the beach. I put in some stones to make the suitcase heavy. Then I closed it and hid it behind some plants on the beach. I was desperately waiting all day in my room for night to come. Once it was dark, I went to the spot where the suitcase was hidden and put it in my boat. I sailed for some time and saw some fishermen waving at me from their boats. After they were gone, I threw the suitcase into the deep waters. As the suitcase drowned, I experienced a feeling of calm. The sea and its waves lulled me to sleep. All night I slept in my little skiff. I was awakened by the sound of the waves beating against my boat in the morning. The sun was high and a strong wind was blowing. I wondered where I was and realized that while I was asleep, my boat was carried far away from the Orkney Islands. I tried to look for land, but I could not see it. I guessed I was somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Sitting in my boat, the day passed very slowly, and the sea became rather choppy in the late afternoon. Lost at sea, I now began to feel hungry and thirsty with the heat of the sun constantly on my head. I doubted if I would be able to survive in such rough conditions. It was about evening when I spotted some land to the south. It wasn't possible to steer my boat with one sail, so I removed my shirt and made a sail from it to head south. As I neared the shore, I saw that there was a small town with a harbor. I came upon the shore and thanked my stars. Tying my boat to the shore, I found myself surrounded by some people from the town. I was shocked to see such a reception, but no one came forward to help me. As people started whispering to each other, I went ahead and asked the crowd where I was. One of them replied, "Don't worry, you will come to know. We don't care whether you like it here or not." I wondered at the reaction of the people. I couldn't understand why they were so rude to me. Or were they rude to every stranger? Noticing the frowns on their faces, I asked again, "Dear people, may I please know the cause of such rudeness? We are all English brothers. Why are all of you frowning?" Someone from the crowd came forward and answered, "English brothers? No, we are Irish people and don't know of the English ways. But in Ireland, villains are treated with great hostility." I was shocked to hear that I was in Ireland. Confused, I said, "But I am no villain. I was just lost at sea in this boat." Someone from the crowd grumbled, "We don't know anything about this. You will have to go and see the magistrate, Mr. Kirwan. There was a murder last night, and he might want to question you. You could be the culprit." I was baffled by all this, but I had no qualms in going to the town magistrate to prove that I wasn't guilty of any murder. Tired and starved, I put on my shirt and asked the people to direct me to the courthouse. I was unaware of the news that was waiting to snatch the ground from below my feet. The magistrate, Mr. Kirwan, was an old man who was questioning the crowd about the murder that took place last night. He asked a fisherman about what happened, and the fisherman replied, "Last night I was out at sea with my son, and as the wind blew rather strong, I decided to get back to the shore. As we both were walking towards our house, I tumbled upon something. Raising our lantern at the suspicious object, we found it was a body. We were horrified to see the dead body of such a good-looking young gentleman, about 25 years old. As his body seemed warm, we thought he was still alive and tried everything to bring him back to life. But it was useless. We couldn't find out how he came to be there. His clothes were dry, so he couldn't have drowned in the sea. What was the cause of his death then? We looked closely at his body for some clues, and I discovered some finger marks on his neck. He was strangled to death, so it is a murder, sir, and no natural death." Finger marks on his neck? I felt that I was about to face some terrible news. This detail drew my attention to the murder of this mysterious man. The memory of the death of my brother William came rushing back to me. He also had some finger marks on his neck. I suspected that if this man was also murdered in the same manner, then perhaps he was murdered by the monster. I stood there, my body frozen and numb. My legs began to quiver and I held onto a table for support. Looking at my odd behavior, the magistrate paused for a moment and then went ahead to ask a woman what she had to say about the incident. The woman answered, "Sir, I came to know about the man's murder from someone. But last night, as I lived near the beach, I saw a huge figure leaving the shore in his boat from the same spot where the man's body was discovered. I didn't see him as it was quite dark, but I think he must have killed this man." The magistrate turned towards me and said, "You, young man, will have to come with me. You too had a boat with you, and our suspicion would certainly go towards you. I want you to come with me to identify the body of this young man, so that we can find out if you were guilty of this killing." As we walked towards the body, I guessed that the magistrate wanted to see my reaction after looking at the body. Upset as I was after finding out about the marks, I quietly went on to see the body. The magistrate took me to a room where there was nothing but a coffin placed right at the center. I slowly went towards the dead body, and when I saw it, my world came crashing down. My eyes couldn't believe what they saw. as the body was not of some stranger. It was my own friend, Henry Clerval. Overwhelmed, I wasn't able to say a word. My friend lay in front of me, lifeless in the coffin. It was getting difficult for me to even breathe. Unable to control myself, I started weeping with my head on his chest, crying, I am responsible for your death, Henry. Forgive me. No, I don't even deserve God's mercy. You are the third one to die because of what I did. That demon. I won't leave him. I will avenge your death. Henry. Saying this, without any strength in my body, I fell unconscious to the floor. Okay, we shall have to stop here. Victor checked his dubious actions just in the nick of time. Another creature would have spelled serious trouble for all mankind. The creature's reaction to the decimation of his dream came as no surprise. Of course, he was devastated by the loss of his future wife and vows revenge. His uncontrollable rage has possibly consumed another innocent life. What will Victor do now? Let's find out next time. Okay, now for the list of the difficult words. Grab a pen. Fiend. Innovation. Visage. Quandary. Comrade. Dismembered. Fathom. Budge. Sinister. Ordeal. Inevitable. Disagreeable. Mutilated. Lulled. Skiff. Choppy. Baffled. Qualm. Okay, that's all from Beamish Bookworms. Till next time, happy reading, everyone. If you enjoyed listening to this story, please do like and subscribe to Beamish Bookworms. Please press the bell icon to get notified when a new story comes out. Meanwhile, happy reading, everyone.